Hey, what's going on, everybody? Gleez here, and today we're going to talk about the proper mindset and give you some tips to go from a good player to a competitive player in Mortal Kombat 1. Now, a lot of this stuff I don't see many people talking about or discussing, and it's not always about what you're doing on the sticks per se, but a mindset that you need to have in order to be successful, and this isn't anything that is competitive. First thing, you need to be humble. You need to understand that you're going to lose, but every match is an opportunity to get better. Anytime you come across a player that's doing something specific that's difficult for you or making you feel uncomfortable or you don't exactly know how to approach it, go into practice mode after that match and set that situation up and practice it. If you can't get into practice mode right away, write it down, put it in the notes on your phone. I have a running list on my phone of notes of things that I've come across in game that I want to practice against, or things that I've thought about while I'm out doing other things and I just jot it down real quick, and that makes my practice efficient. Being efficient is really important so you're not wasting a ton of time. Going into practice mode and just doing a whole bunch of random combos with characters that you don't even use, though fun at times, it doesn't really help you as far as being competitive in most cases. Think of all these notes you're taking, all of the experiences that you're having as grains of sand adding to the heap. And this is your knowledge base for the game. And over time, as you add these little bits of knowledge or grains of sand, that pile grows bigger. Remember, we're always learning, we're always trying to get better. And by having this mindset, we'll develop into the best player that we can be. Doing all this also holds you accountable. And being accountable is extremely important. There's no proper way to play. You need to be accountable for all gameplay styles and all tactics. If you write things off as spam or running away or being a tryhard, all of these things create built-in excuses. And with these built-in excuses, you push away that accountability. I find this to be very common, not only in like the beginner levels, but even very good players that are just outside of that range of, doing really well in a tournament. There may be things that are stupid in the game. There may be characters that you don't like to play. Maybe you think they need nerfs. All of those things are okay, but you need to hold yourself accountable. As soon as you start calling things spam and whatever you want to call them, or I play low tier, so X, Y, and Z, you've already built in that excuse and you're not holding yourself accountable, whether it's subconsciously or not. You need to hold yourself accountable and you need to have a game plan against those characters. This will also lead to confidence. I've also gotten questions about how are you not nervous when you play? Being prepared leads to confidence. That's one of the biggest things that I can really hit home with. Having a game plan against every character and sticking to it. Don't let your frustrations take you out of your game plan. A lot of times people get frustrated and then they start playing a particular way. You have to be able to take your energy, your nerves, or your frustrations and push them down and know that your game plan is the correct game plan and you need to go with that. In saying that, you also need to be adaptable, which may sound like contradictory things, but they're not. You can stick to your game plan, but also make subtle, nuanced changes based on the person that you're playing against. This is probably the most difficult thing to do, I would say, on this entire list of things that we're going to go over, and it happens over time, especially with the game being new. Being adaptable at times may be difficult for some people, but the more you learn the game, the better you're going to be at that. And an example that I can give for being adaptable is let's say you're hitting your down one and you go for a grab and they're constantly neutral ducking you. What you can do, instead of going for your grab after a down one, you then go with a mid, right? So you're going to pop them out of their neutral duck and then you can get a full combo, hopefully. And that's just one example. You can also think if you're using projectiles and you're zoning and a person jumps from a particular range, try to bait that jump. Get the anti-air, right? So you're changing these subtle nuanced changes that are just supplementing your game plan and what you're already doing. The next thing I want to talk about is being aware of your peripherals, right? So when I talk about that, I'm talking about your opponent's meter. Know that they have full bar and they're probably going to take a risk, right? If you're playing against someone and they have Frost Cameo and they're going to come out and do some type of 50-50 situation, they get the Frost Cameo coming out, right? You block it, you hit them for a couple hits, Frost comes back, boom, they're breaking, they're only taking like 10% damage, right? Know that a character or a person With a character that has 50-50s, they're probably going to take that risk when they have full bars, so be aware of that. You also don't want to be in a situation where your combos, some characters, they like flip sides, so like say you're like Melina or Scorpion and you're using teleport, you don't want to teleport yourself or ball roll or something yourself into the corner when they have full bars, right? Because if I'm a player, I'm looking at your bars. And if you are Melina, I'm going to wait until you ball roll under me if I'm in the corner and you flip sides, and then I'm going to break, right? So be aware of the bars, screen position, the time on the clock, right? All of these things are something that are things that are really important that oftentimes they just go overlooked. Like players don't even look at these things, but they're super important. The next thing that I want to talk about is going into practice mode and getting your reps. Set the opponent to do strings and mix-ups and put the replay on random hidden. If you put it on random hidden, it'll go through all of the different types of strings, whether it's an overhead or a low or a grab, right, in certain situations, and you can practice reacting to those. This makes practice really efficient. So you can get like 1,000,000 reps against, say, Johnny Cage doing all of his mix-ups, and you're just sitting in practice mode by yourself, and you can do that really fast, right? You can get like 10 minutes of reps, which in-game might be like 30 games, right? So it's much more efficient to do that in practice mode, and you can get a lot out of it. Also, making sure that your combos become like second instinct, like you're not even thinking about it. When it gets to that point where you're not thinking about your inputs during combos, you can perform the combos and then check all of the peripheral things that I talked about in the last point. So you can check the time, you can check the screen position, you can check how much bar you have, how much bar they have, right? As these things are happening, it allows your eyes to move around and look at all of these other different things and be mindful of the meter and what's going on and all of these peripheral things. And that's also really important. It also helps you not drop combos. So making sure that your combos are really intact, really good to go, really important. So the biggest things to take from this, number one, hold yourself accountable for everything. All gameplay styles, all characters, everything that's in the game that's legal in tournament, you need to be accountable for. You need to have a game plan for it, and again, hold yourself accountable. Don't dismiss anything as spam or that's Raiden or that's Baraka, blah, blah. Nope. Like, I get it. Some of the stuff's dumb. You need to be accountable. As soon as you start writing that stuff off as spam or as X character or whatever it is, you give yourself an out. You lack accountability. You push that stuff off. You need to put that on yourself. Secondly, keep a list of things that gives you an issue or makes you feel uncomfortable as you play, and make sure you practice those. Come up with a game plan for all these situations and every character. Be prepared. Preparation leads to confidence. Being prepared leads to confidence. Be prepared. One other thing to add to that, make sure that you have some players on your list, on your friends list that you can play against, and they specialize in a certain character. I think that's very valuable if you can find that, but not necessarily needed. Learn to make adjustments on the fly. This is the most difficult, but it definitely comes over time. Be aware of your peripherals, your opponent's meter, screen position, time on the clock. All of these things matter. And lastly, get your reps in. Practice your defense, practice your combo execution. Make it to where all these inputs are second nature. Hopefully these points helped out. I don't see a lot of people talking about all of these things, and I think having the proper mindset going in to be competitive is really important. Many people post combo tutorials and other things, but the mindset is where it starts. If you have that mindset, you'll continue to grow. A lot of people don't have that mindset, and they never really develop into the player that they should be. You have the potential, you just gotta unlock it. So if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell so you get updated whenever I post new content. As always, I want to thank you guys for checking in. It's Gleez signing out, and continue to game strong.